On this President's Day, we have a very special guest, a 6-year-old from Kensington, Maryland, who has already learned more than many of us ever will know about the chief executives of our country. Andrew Burklow, good morning.
Good morning,
nice
Andrew.
to see you, Andrew. How are you?
Good.
6 years old, right?
Yeah.
Kindergarten?
Uh-huh.
But you know, as I said, so much about the presidents of the United States. How did you get interested, Andrew?
Well, my mom and dad and my brother, my oldest, they got a president's ruler, and I started looking at the pictures, and I was asking my dad, what's that name, and what's that name, and what's that name?
And then from there, you got very interested, and we happen to have this ruler that I guess your parents gave you. How old were you when you got this ruler then, Andrew?
5.
5 years old, and you have learned a lot about the presidents in just a year's time, right?
Yeah, and that's the first ruler, and the second one's in my backpack.
What's amazing, though, Andrew, is you have memorized all of the presidents' names, and you could basically just start going. You want to start, and then we'll stop you? Go ahead, you start.
George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler.
We get the picture, okay? That's fantastic. How long did it take you to memorize all them? A couple of years?
Only like for 1, 2, 3 months.
Wow.
3 months, yeah.
He's become a presidential historian within 1 year because he just got the ruler a year ago when he was 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite? Who's your favorite president?
Franklin Pierce.
Now, not many people, to be honest with you, Andrew, would say Franklin Pierce was their favorite president. Why do you feel he was yours?
Because I like his hair.
You like his hair. You know, that's a very good reason. That's what a lot of people base their opinions on these days.
Yeah.
But you have some interesting factoids about some other presidents. Franklin Roosevelt, for example, he is another favorite of yours. Many people admire him greatly. Why do you?
Because he helped us with the Big Depression.
The Great Depression, or the Big Depression, as it's often called.
Yeah, exactly. How about Grover Cleveland?
I like him because he had a rubber jaw.
Now, do you know why he had a rubber jaw? I never knew that.
Because he had cancer in his jaw.
Is that true? I knew he was a very large man, right? And required a big bathtub to be placed into the White House to accommodate his girth, as they say. All right, and what about Andrew Jackson?
He was the only president to kill a guy in a duel, but it wasn't during his presidency.
Right?
Oh.
Do you remember? Do you know who he killed?
Yeah,
Who?
Charles Dickinson.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Andrew,
Why
you're
even
freaking
ask?
me out a little
Why
bit
even
here.
ask?
But you know what I'm curious about? I didn't know about a president maybe having died eating a bowl of cherries. I've never heard that before. Who was that?
Zachary Taylor.
And what did he get? Like a pit stuck in his throat prior to the Heimlich maneuver? No, what happened?
I forget the name, but it seems like it wasn't a poisonous one.
Really? But he did die after eating a bowl of cherries.
5 days later.
5 days later.
Wow. You know what's amazing is Andrew has started to learn all the vice presidents too, but you know something that most people don't know. Did every president have a vice president? No, he looks at me like, no, dopey.
No. Indeed.
No, tell me
Who
why.
didn't?
John Tyler, Millard Fillmore, and
Another.
Yeah, you know what? We can't help you out here. I mean,
You're looking in the wrong direction here, Andrew.
Chester Arthur.
and
One
Andrew
more.
Johnson.
Andrew
Wow.
Johnson.
Yay.
Now, you wanted to ask us a couple quick questions about the presidents? Go ahead.
Who was the only who was born with the name Stephen?
The only president born with the name Stephen? That would be, you know, a lot of people don't know that Abraham Lincoln was actually called Stephen.
Stephen Lincoln? Who was that?
Glover Cleveland.
Okay.
Really?
Give us another one. Go ahead, Andrew.
What was Woodrow Wilson's first name?
Go ahead.
Thomas?
Do you know who was president when Katie was born?
I think there's a trick question coming in. And don't say
What
Abraham
did I
Lincoln.
Eisenhower. That's right. That's right. Kennedy when I was born. And what about you?
Clinton.
Clinton.
Very funny.
Andrew, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, it's so good to meet you. And would you like to be president one day, you think? Would you? Well, I think you're off to an excellent start. Thanks so much for coming by, and happy President's Day. This must be your favorite day of the year, is it?
Yeah.
I bet it is.
You're a nice young man.
All
You're
right,
very
thanks,
impressive.
Andrew. Appreciate it. You can
thanks
just
very
stay
much.
here for 2 seconds. We'll let you go to your dad in just a second.
All
Good
right.
job.
Anyway,
gonna
and
look-
we'll be back with more of Today right after this.